basically the presentation is broken into three sections. We've got certain highlights, then we talk about the business performance, and then we move on to the contribution and challenges, and then definitely as a process, we move on to the Q&A. So a brief highlight, we start from the macroeconomic overview. I'm sorry, not too well, so I'm just sorry for that. So inflation, if we look at inflation for the half year, so it's been on quite on the lower side. Okay, just a second, please, sir. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Sorry. So moving back, so in terms of the macroeconomic numbers, we see the inflation numbers are lower as compared to last year. So definitely things are improving. The policy rate is also lower as compared to last quarter, I would say, because we did see a 1% decrease in the rates. Exchange rate is a little higher as compared to December. We are a little higher in the exchange rate, but it's still not too high as compared to the last December. And GDP is showing decent sort of number of 2.68. But I think one important thing to focus is the fact where the agri sector contributes around 24% of the overall GDP. That has only grew by 0.56%. And even from those, if you do a deep dive, the crop-related agriculture, which is around 30% of the overall agri sector GDP, that has declined by 6.2%. So where the other livestock sector has shown some increase, the crop sector has shown a decline in the overall GDP also. So where headline numbers in terms of inflation, in terms of policy, in terms of GDP, we do see some growth. But on specifically when you do a deep dive on the agri sector itself, especially on the crop side, you see there's a decline around 7%. So the main sort of reasons for decline, input costs have remained to be high. Those continue to high in terms of seeds, diesel, rentals, and whatnot. We've definitely seen a big shift in the agri space once the government decided to let us do away with the support price mechanism, and we are now under a free market. So this has also led to certain challenges in the sector. But definitely those are sort of improving as we speak. Will take some time. Climate change, we all are, so it's a global phenomenon, not only for Pakistan, but you would recall that this particular half year we have seen challenges in terms of lower snowfall, but then we were seeing more rains, which have led to some and the flooding also, which has caused a lot of disaster in certain areas. So it has been sort of erratic, the snowfall and the rainfall. And last but not the least, the agri production of cash crops as compared to last year has declined by 30.5%. So the multiple contributions to it including weather, including farm economics, and so I'm sure a lot of you've seen a lot of numbers in papers and even the research, the economic survey that wheat and cotton have shown quite decline as compared to last year. So the agri sector sort of remains under certain stress and the concern remains. Moving on to business performance, so we'll start with urea. So in terms of the industry numbers, compared to the first half of last year, we were around 28%. This time we're 29%. So we won't say it's improved as compared to last year, because you would recall last year, first half of the year, we had a major turnaround, and that's why our market share was low. So technically speaking, our share is lower in this half year as compared to the last year. But when we look at the quarter-on-quarter numbers, first quarter had a market share of 24%, but second quarter, I think a great job done by our teams, and we've increased our market share for the second quarter to 34% as compared to the market share of the first quarter. And resultantly, we were holding a higher inventory share at 52% at the end of quarter one. Now we have an inventory share of 43%. Even though the inventory numbers are higher as compared to first quarter, we were at 431,000 tons, now we're at 563. But if you look at the industry numbers, it's grown from 829 to 1309. So we do have a market share of 43 as compared to 52. So there's improvement. But having said that, the urea market sort of remains under stress as we speak. We did talk about these initiatives in the previous analyst briefings. I agree, sort of that, like we reiterate, we do have a brick and mortar setup called as Engro markers. We've got certain outlets operating in Punjab. We started it. We're not sort of very aggressive on this side. We started slow, sort of assessing the results of it. And the other major investment and the focus remains on Ugai, which is the digital platform to access, giving access to farmers and with value-added benefits. So as an organization, we understand the importance of these initiatives and platforms, and we continue to double down on the efforts on these to provide more and more value-added services for our farmers and also enable their outreach. This is another sort of initiative we've done very recent. I'm sure you've read it in multiple papers also and also in social media. So recently we've signed an agreement with Bank of Fala, which will help us to provide farmer financing to around a large livelihood of farmers to the tune of total amount of 250 million rupees, which is available through our markers and also our Ugai app. So we feel this will help the farmers who are struggling in terms of their financial sort of numbers. So this should provide them some respite, especially the small farmers, to help them with their produce and helping them with their crops. So we're quite sort of proud of this initiative, and we thank our partner also for this initiative. Moving on from urea to DAP. So DAP, I think the important thing to see is the fact is you see the sharp increase in prices of DAP internationally. So they used to be around $640, and now they're close to 780 and maybe going further north as we see. So this has and reciprocal basis. While the international prices continue to go up, the local prices have not sort of risen by such sharp increase, and therefore the margins and have been very low on the DAP side. So that's why, as a sort of a strategy from our side, we have remained ourselves low on the DAP business. Still, we have increased the market share from 16 to 19% on a quarter-on-quarter basis. But if you look at the half-year sales, we are down in terms of market share from 23 to 18%. So as an organization, we continue to evaluate and monitor the situation. And based on that, we will take our decisions going forward in terms of DAP. We understand the criticality and importance, but we also need to sort of keep a close eye on the prices and the marketability within Pakistan. So that sort of covers the business segment, and now coming briefly on the numbers. So the revenue is up as compared to the last period of same period quarter period. So we have an increased revenue of 50 billion, and profitability is up by 5.6 billion. And the EPS for the quarter is 4.17. If you look at the numbers, you see the green arrows as compared to the last quarter of 2024. So it does show an increase it does show better performance as compared to the last similar quarter of last year. But the reason is because that particular 2024 was the year when we had our turnaround, and we also had the cost of imported urea in our books. So those two numbers were the primary reason when you see the green bar, the green arrows. If you sort of take them out or sort of normalize those, so the numbers definitely are not as good as last year, and that sort of reflects in the revenue to date. So CU, we are lower than last year on a total basis uh, as compared to last year. We had an earning of 4.17, and we've declared a dividend of 4.25 in this particular quarter, and then so that our YTD dividend is now 6.5. So technically, we've distributed our total EPS for half year is 6.34, and we distributed 6.5. So we distributed whatever we've earned this year also as part of our past practice. So very briefly, I did touch upon this, but I'll just sort of go one by one. So revenues has decreased by 9%, primarily because the graph I showed you in the previous slides, we will reduce urea and DAP volumes. Uh, Gross profit is up by 5%, but again, same reasons. We did not have our turnaround and imported urea cost as we had in the same period last year. Uh, so all of that primarily translates into the net profit. So that's why you see a high, healthy net profit. But there is also measures at internal measures to for effective cost management, and we're trying, and definitely we are making sure that we can save costs wherever we can. It's a difficult year, so those also have an impact where you see an improved bottom line. If you look at the gearing ratio, our gearing ratio is definitely higher as compared to December. So we were at 42%. Now we are 57%. And if you do the calculation, this is primarily because of the higher inventory levels. So we were close to 100,000 tons of inventory at December, and now we're close to 500,000 tons of inventory. So the differential is primarily the reason you see a high gearing ratio. And if you look at the financials, you'll see a 30 odd billion rupee running finance, and that is the primary reason you see for the gearing ratio. But having said that, the debt to EBITDA levels are still very healthy because we're a company who has been distributing 100% dividends. So we understand our equity will always be at a lower number. So where the gearing ratio looks at a higher number, but the EBITDA actually tells the right story, and we are very well sort of placed, and there's no sort of concern anywhere now. A brief snapshot of the contribution. So we have contributed around 14.5 billion to national exchequer in terms of duties and government taxes. We remain a compliant organization, and and provide our sort of humble share to the national exchequer. On the other side, as an industry, we've been helping our farmers through lower urea prices, locally manufactured, and so to the tune of around 3,600 or 4,000 rupees, give or take. So the farmer continues to benefit in terms of the international prices of urea. Last slide, very quickly, we have always been giving updates on the pressure enhancement facility, which the industry is working on with Bari Petroleum. So Alhamdulillah, the project is on track, and phase one is near to completion. Phase two is also on track with the order of the compressors, and that should so inshallah, as per plan, we should be able to close this entire sort of project by next year to plan. And but having said that, the gas availability has already been secured, and there's no depletion, so we're getting gas as required for all the plants to operate. So that covers the presentation. So now I'll just stop sharing, and so I'll just open the forum for questions. So if you can please raise your hand so we can let people in. We will start with Mr. Salim.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sir, I had a question regarding the EBITDA margins. So, your recent quarter had an EBITDA margin of around 23.5, which were similar to your December quarter margin last year. So, I had a question that despite high discounts provided by the company on your retail prices, the margins on EBITDA level have almost remained the same or improved as well in the March quarter. So, could you give us any reason for why the EBITDA margin have been so sustainable, and what is the outlook on the margins?
Because December also was a month where we were giving heavy discounts. It's not the fact we were not giving discounts. But in terms of EBITDA margins, I would say that whatever margins you see in the second quarter or half year, I would say, you can use this also going forward because these have taken into account our discounts, which we currently are sort of giving in the market. And we don't see any further price increase in terms of gas also. You would recall there was an SNGPL price increase which was supposed to happen in July. It has not happened. So that's why we don't see any further increase in gas from here. So the margins you see should be good to going forward also.
Okay, and secondly, has the company achieved any kind of operational efficiency in terms of production of fertilizer? For example, any improvement in gas requirement by the plants?
Well, we continue to work on that. And so just recently, our plant was successful in achieving, I think, the fastest million tons in terms of production in less than a number of days as compared to last time. Last time, I think we were lower by 10 days. I don't exactly remember the number of days. So the efficiency part continues because we understand the fact that the gas prices are where they are, right? So the only way for us is to make sure that our plant remains efficient. Our manufacturing and plant teams are constantly working on multiple efficiency projects, and we try and get whatever we can in terms of reduced gas usage or incremental production, as the case may be. So that continues.
Okay, sir. Sir, my second question is about the export potential. There was news that the CEO of Engro Fertilizer had a meeting with the ministry regarding the export potential. So, could you give us any update on that front?
Sure. So export is something we did meet the ministry. It was quite a few months back. Definitely, there has been discussion going on this particular chapter. But there's also an FRC which happens regularly, which includes representation from the industry and also from the government. And those regularly sort of review the numbers on a regular basis because the ministry has a better sort of visibility of the demand and supply of urea. So the numbers are being monitored and based on that discussion, we will sort of work towards the right time to see when to export.
Okay, sir. My last question is regarding the pricing. So, in case there is there are exports happening in the next year, what would be the pricing mechanism that you would be following for the export prices? Would they be at a discount to the international prices, or would they be at parity?
Yeah, it's difficult to say. Reason being, you understand the fact that fertilizer industry is not a normal exporter. The last we exported, I think, was what 8, 9 years ago. So we're not regular in terms of the export market, and it all depends also on the fact that where, when, at what time the industry goes out to export, what are the market scenario over there, and what's the window to export. There are multiple factors to it, but definitely the idea would be to maximize whatever we can in the available option we have. So, but again, as I mentioned, we as an industry, we're not too frequent, I would say, in terms of exports. So definitely, when the time comes, we'll see how to maximize it. So, can
Alaikum,
I have
sir.
Sri Shankar
Yeah.
Shankar?
Okay. So my question is with regards to the overall inventory level that you are expecting by end of this December 2025. क्योंकि वो जिस एफआरसी की आप बात कर रहे हैं मुझे भी चांस मिला था उनके मिनट्स रिव्यू करने का तो वहाँ पे देयर वाज अ डिस्कशन के दिस ईयर विल क्लोज एट अराउंड 500,000 इन्वेंट्री लेवल बट आई बिलीव कि इससे काफ़ी ज़्यादा नंबर होगा इन्वेंट्री का इफ़ यू कैन प्रोवाइड द मोर रियलिस्टिक पिक्चर कि दिसंबर एंड तक क्या इन्वेंट्री आपको लग रही है, और वे फॉरवर्ड अगेन एक्सपोर्ट ही होगा, वो आपने कमेंट कर दिया है। एक इन्वेंट्री पे आप बता दें, और दूसरा डिस्काउंट्स पे आप बताएं, क्योंकि इस क्वार्टर के जो ग्रॉस मार्जिन्स हैं वो हमारी एक्सपेक्टेशन से कम आए थे, और 100 रुपीज़ का डिस्काउंट हमने अज्यूम किया हुआ था। तो वाज देयर एनी इंक्रीज इन डिस्काउंट्स ड्यूरिंग द लास्ट क्वार्टर? और क्रेडिट टर्म्स पे भी थोड़ा सा अगर बताएं कि क्रेडिट टर्म्स डीलर्स के साथ आप लोगों के क्या रहे हैं अभी वेरी रिसेंटली, और कंपेयर टू लास्ट 3 इयर्स क्रेडिट टर्म्स में कोई फर्दर स्ट्रेच आया है जिसकी वजह से आपको वर्किंग कैपिटल की बोरोइंग करनी पड़ रही है?
अच्छा, आपके 3-4
और
सवाल पूछे, आई कैन आंसर ऑल ऑफ देम। सो
ओके।
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, इन्वेंट्री नंबर्स पे आपने बात की। देखिए, इन्वेंट्री नंबर्स एज वी स्पीक अराउंड व्हाट 1.3 million roughly, give or take terms, right? So yes, you're right. FRC did have an aggressive number with them, which is a lower number. जो आप सही number quote करा थे, that was the last number I recall also. Uh, but again, I said कि how we see it, and based on the जो इंडस्ट्री का सेंटिमेंट नजर आ रहा है हमें, और जो डिमांड पुल नजर आ रही है, we do feel that the industry inventory levels will be over 1 million tons. वो कितना होता है exactly, it's difficult to say, but over, we are now into July, and there's just 5 more months. But there is a season coming up which can have a clear sort of pull to it. So that depends if that happens. But having said that, again, if status quo remains, so we should be ending at a higher inventory level. That's how we see it. Even though और अगर बीच में export होता है, then the numbers will change. But that's something which is different. In terms of credit terms में देखिए, you understand, देखिए जब market different होती है, so when you're working in a market which is short, so different payment terms होते हैं. When you're working in a market which is long, there are different payment terms. Similarly, discounts, you said yes, we continue to offer discounts wherever we can to make sure that the inventory, and we're competitive in the market. Let's keep it this way. So at times we may give a higher discount, at times we may give a lower discount also. That depends, and also depends region to region also. So that continues, and based on that, uh, the credit terms also, because आप देखिए कुछ आपके dealers होंगे, customers होंगे, because they understand there's ample availability of urea, so they may want sort of flexible terms also. So it's a demand and supply game, and nothing unusual. I think ये सारी वो चीजें जो कि हम सबने किसी किसी किताब में पढ़ी होगी, डिमांड सप्लाई की जब हम बात पढ़ते हैं, तो that's all the theory into practical application. So we continue to work on that, and so yes, it's difficult time for the entire sector. We do have higher inventory levels, we do have profitability challenges, but again, we are battling, and we're confident, inshallah, we'll be out of the storm soon. जी शंकर।
जी, वन वन वो क्वेश्चन सर, आप ये फेज 2 का जो बता रहे हैं कि जो $300 million कैपेक्स अगस्त से ऑपरेशनल हो जाएगा, इसमें भी कोई फर्दर प्रोडक्शन बढ़ने के चांसेस हैं, आई थिंक बाय 300,000 टन्स पर एनम। ये एक इंडस्ट्री का एस्टिमेट है। इफ यू कैन क्लियरिफाई ऑन दिस, ये जो 300,000 टन्स पर एनम से प्रोडक्शन इंक्रीज होगी, ये प्रोपोर्शनेट होगी बेस्ड ऑन द कैपेसिटी और द गैस एलोकेशन यू ऑल क्लियर्स?
नहीं 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 शंकर, इससे कोई प्रोडक्शन इंक्रीज नहीं होगी, पहली बात तो ये। और ये फेज की जो ये देखिए, इस पेफ के दो फेजेस है, फेज 1 एंड फेज 2। फेज 1 की भी दो फेजेस है, फेज 1 एंड फेज 2, राइट? तो ये फेज 1 का फेज 2 है, जिस विच वाज द पाइपिंग, लेइंग ऑफ द पाइपलाइंस। देन द फेज larger phase is about ordering the compressors, which is in progress. देखिए, इससे प्रोडक्शन इंक्रीज नहीं होगी, बिकॉज यू अंडरस्टैंड दिस वाज टू मेक श्योर दैट द एचआरएल रिजर्वॉयर, जहां से गैस आती है टू मेजर ऑफ आवर इंडस्ट्री प्लेयर्स, वो गैस जो है वो कंसिस्टेंट बेसिस मिलती रहे। अगर इन्वेस्टमेंट नहीं होती, द गैस डिप्लीशन वुड हैव स्टार्टेड, so we would have seen a depletion in the production levels. Because of PEF, you will not see that happen. So there's no increase, but it's maintenance.
Okay,
So
because this was mentioned in those FRC minutes, तो ठीक है, अगर production increase नहीं होगी तो I'll take this as a point.
जी जी, तो नहीं इस पेफ रिलेटेड स्पेसिफिक टू पेफ इंक्रीज नहीं होगी। अब कोई और बात पे अगर होगी तो आई कांट रिकॉल, मैंने भी कुछ डिस्कशन में बात की थी, लेकिन पेफ रिलेटेड इंक्रीज नहीं होगी। Is there any other question from anyone? I understand a lot of questions on the chat. If anybody wants to ask the question here, please go ahead. जी अब्दुल हादी।
Sir, my question is, considering the higher debt to equity right now, can we foresee the company is going to skip the dividend going forward?
नहीं देखिए, मैंने आपको आई एक्सप्लेन टू यू द रीजन फॉर अ हायर डेट टू इक्विटी, बिकॉज अगर हम डिविडेंड्स पे आउट नहीं कर रहे हैं रेगुलरली तो वी विल हैव हायर इक्विटी एंड डेट विल बी लोअर। ए B, the debt is primarily just because of the temporary hold up on the inventory side, okay, which we feel will get settled soon. So based on these reasons, I don't see a reason that we will be holding back on our dividends. But having said that, you understand dividend is a prerogative of the board of directors. So they will decide every quarter based on the performance of the organization, and whatever is felt appropriate for the organization will be done. Is there any further questions from anyone, or we can sort of end this call? जी सलीम sir.
Hello, sir. I had a question regarding related to the export again. So, what would be the expected cost components other than raw material that could be incorporated in export pricing if we were to export urea?
Yeah, as I mentioned, export is a subject which is uh, not very frequent for the sector, right? And it has to go through multiple channels of approval within the ministry before we can get some approval on that. And even though when the approval is received, last अगर आप देखें when we got the approval last 6-7 years back, there were particular sort of windows of export that when we can export. So there are certain sort of boundaries in which we can operate. Uh, so I don't. So I think the only answer I can give is the fact, as I mentioned earlier, once the time comes, we will as an industry do whatever is best for our stakeholders and make sure we can maximize our returns. जी हसन साहब. जी हसन, please go ahead. We can't hear you. Hasan, sorry, we can't hear you. Hassan, if you could just put your question on the chat, it will be helpful because we can't hear you. Is there any other question from anyone other than Mr. Hassan because we can't hear him? What kind of capital structure are you targeting going for considering the acquisition of Deodar and Engro holdings? Like I said, this question is primarily related to Engro Corp and holdings, not for me. So sorry, I can't respond to this. So I think I'll just sort of take the. I don't think there are any further questions. I'll just sort of try and take one question which I just read on the chat. The last question, which is regarding the yields and prices. So, the agri sector as we speak remains under pressure, and we see there are multiple sort of challenges in the sector. The yields have gone down primarily of the cash crops. There's a lot of news also of concerns shown by different communities in terms of lower yields and challenges of the pricing. So as far as we see, this will remain under challenge, and that coupled up with the challenges of climate change. So we do expect the next months also to be under pressure, unless there is some sort of support or intervention on this. So that's how we see it because there is quite a bit of concern across. So based on that, we do expect a lower urea sales as compared to last year. And the farmer economics to remain under pressure for the foreseeable future also. Perfect. So I don't see any other questions. So thank you all for joining. Thank you for your time. And inshallah, hope to see you all back again in Q3's board meeting, corporate briefing, inshallah, with the results. Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon.